and the smooth brook stone did bar me of passage with friendly brawl, and many a luminous jewel lone, crystals clear or a cloud with mist, ruby, garnet, and amethyst, made lures with the lights of streaming stone in the clefts of the hills of Habersham, in the beds of the valleys of Hall. But oh, not the hills of Habersham, and oh, not the valleys of Hall. Avail I am fain for to water the plain. Downward the voices of duty call, downward to toil and be mixed with the main. The dry fields burn, and the mills are to turn, and a myriad flowers mortally yearn, and the lordly main from beyond the plain. In 1953, the valleys of Hall would become Lake Lanier. The Legacy. Looking at the North Georgia lakes requires looking in the past through the eyes of those who walked the land. The aim is to tell the people's story, to look at remaining scars on the mountain community. Famed writer John McPhee took a wild trip in the 1970s across Georgia. He experienced backroads and the Chattahoochee River. The Chattahoochee rises off the slopes of the Brasstown Bald, Georgia's highest mountain, 7 miles from North Carolina, and flows to Florida, where its name changes at the frontier. It is thereafter called the Apalachicola. In all its 400 Georgia miles, what seems most remarkable about this river is that it flows into Atlanta nearly wild. Through a series of rapids between high forested bluffs, it enters the city clear and clean. From parts of the Chattahoochee within the city of Atlanta, no structures are visible, just water, sky, and woodland. The circumstance is nostalgic, archaic, and unimaginable. Atlanta deserves little credit for the clear Chattahoochee, though, because the Chattahoochee is killed before it leaves the city. On this same trek across Georgia, McPhee took a canoe trip with then-Governor Jimmy Carter. Carter said while on the Chattahoochee in 1973, "We are lucky here in Georgia that the environment thing has risen nationally, because Georgia is less developed than some states and still has much to save." Returning to the governor's mansion, McPhee recorded Governor Carter saying, "The river is just great, and it ought to be kept the way it is. It's almost heartbreaking, the destruction." He must have been affected by the trip down the Chattahoochee. Later, Carter stopped the damming of the Flint River. James Dickey made the North Georgia rivers infamous. McPhee described a film location on the Tallulah River. Some 20 miles on down, the river had cut a gorge in hard quartzite 600 feet deep. Warner Brothers had chosen the gorge as the site for filming of a scene from James Dickey's novel Deliverance. The area was labeled Deliverance Country. McPhee went to the climb-out scene and saw Tallulah Gorge as it remains today. The 600-foot gorge was a wonder indeed, clefting narrowly and giddily down through the quartzite to the bed of the river that had done the cutting. Remarkable, though, no river was there. A few still pools, a trickle of water. Graffiti adorned the rock walls beside the pools. There was a dam nearby, and in 1913 the river had been detoured through a hydropower tunnel. Most of Deliverance was not filmed at Tallulah Gorge, but on the Chatuge River. Chatuge is one of the few remaining whitewater rivers in Georgia. The film could not be made in the location that inspired it. Carter's dam had already tamed the Coosawattee and formed Carter's Lake. The sad legacy of the film is not how progress killed the wild rivers of Georgia, but how the movie damaged the mountain people's dignity. McPhee described the people of the mountains as malevolent, opaque, and sinister. Dickey's words in Deliverance were a degrading and a poor depiction of the residents. Former Foxfire student Barbara Woodall, taught to respect their culture and society, researched the impact of the filming of this movie. Besides damaging local lands, such as digging up a potato patch with little compensation, the scar is much more personal. A few locals were given small roles, but they did not know what was happening as the cameras rolled. Woodall said, "Area resident Nell Norton, known as Whispering Nell because she was a very vocal gal, appeared in a dining room scene. They didn't tell me what the movie was about. They said they'd like to take